was on the in Kiamaiko, in person. I came there in Kiamaiko. And for the first time, my brother, for the first time, normally when people are removed from places, they are brutalized. They are removed and nobody cares about where they go. Nobody cares about what happens to them. For the first time in the history of Kenya, I made sure that every Kenyan who was living in the riparian reserve was given money for alternative accommodation. We paid every Kenyan who left that place 10,000 shillings to be able to relocate away from the danger of the floods that were on the river. I mean, it was the best that I could do in that circumstance. And I promised them that under our housing program, because we now have their list, under our housing program, we are going to consider them the first beneficiaries of our social housing program. I made that commitment in public. If you ask our peers for housing, they already have the data on these Kenyans who were removed from the riparian reserve, who had to be relocated for their own safety. For your information, we lost many Kenyans who were sleeping there, but they were carried by the floods. And it was the best thing that I could do. I went there in person. My minister was there consistently. I had 3 different cabinet meetings to attend the issue. We committed close to 400 million to make sure that those Kenyans who were in that situation were attended to. Maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe I should have done more. Maybe then I should apologize for not doing more. But to the best of my ability, it is the first time the government of Kenya is providing money to relocate people who have been affected in situations like the one in the flood.
Okay, Mr. President, on the issue of Githurai, you said there was only one casualty, which is a lie. Mr. President, nakwambia tu kweli. Githurai inasemekana there are more than 200 people who were shot dead. Some wengine hata wajulikani mahali wako saizi vile tunaongea ukweli saizi. In Rongai, they shot some guys pia. Wakakuficha wakakwambia ni mtu mmoja. Na ni ukweli reality kwa ground watu walikuwa wanauliwa. Ina ni ukweli watu walikuwa wanauliwa. Tulikuwa huko, wote tulikuwa maandamano. Alafu kuna issue nyingine. This rogue cop amekuwa kichapa watu risasi, anachapa watu risasi open air, kila mtu ana camera there. The DCI doesn't do anything about it. Amekuwa all over social media, in the media, but you don't even say a word about him. His name is Murang'a. That killer cop ameua watu. Watu wanazikwa kila siku sababu yake. Juzi ilikuwa last week Wednesday nilikuwa town. Nilimwona akitembea tu town vizuri along Moi Avenue, very happy, very healthy. He's a killer cop. Nothing has been done to him. Hivi tu tumekuwa complaint au kitambo. For how long should we be talking about this? About the killer cops?
Sorry. You can go ahead, Mr. President.
My good brother, you know, it is good to be brutally honest. And I will not, as president, or even as a Kenyan, ever say anything that is not factual, especially on a very serious matter of people losing lives. Are you saying 200 people were killed in Githurai? Really? I mean, my friend, I mean, where are can the family step forward? People who are saying our members of our family are missing. They went to Mandamano or they went to picket and they did not come back. 200 people is not a joke, my friend. So I really want to plead with you. I am sorry to tell you, you have wrong numbers. I'm sorry to tell you that. It is
Mr.
not
President,
possible.
we even have the names. It's all over social media. Hata saizi tunaweza post, tunaweza soma hizo
What about
majina
social
zetu.
media? I want to offer
We have
you.
the names,
I want to
even the
offer you.
faces. We have the faces
Tomorrow,
and the
I
names.
want to offer you to bring the names and family members of the people who are saying their loved ones are not there. Don't even take them anywhere. Bring them to Statehouse. Them family members who are saying, I have lost so and so. My fellow, a member of my family was there on Monday last week. He went to Mandamano and he didn't come back. And where possibly are the bodies? You know. So I mean, really, my good friend, it is just good to be. You know, we are dealing with a very serious issue. Please let us not use information that is not verified. It just helps to create a situation that is not correct.
Mr. President, I have another question too. Kindiki yesterday.
Otero, tupatie wengine nafasi, at least you're a co-host.
Ya mwisho alafu nimuulize alafu ni ad mwingine. Mr. President, jana Kindiki alisema guys were being arrested, not abducted. When a guy is arrested, it means the area police station or the area OCS or CPD is aware. When I was arrested, Parkland's deputy OCPD was not aware. Meaning these abductions are very illegal. Right?
Let me say the following on matters of abduction. You know, first, let us agree first that the era of extrajudicial killing is no longer with us. There is a new problem called abduction. And it is something that I am going to exercise my mind on because the police have clear rules of how to arrest citizens if they have to arrest citizens. There is a clearly stipulated procedure on how that is done. And if anything is done outside the procedure, then it is illegal and it is punishable. So when the police arrest somebody, they must declare to that person that they are policemen, they are arresting this person for this and that and that and that, and they take him to a place that is known. So that is a matter that I will take up and I will deal with it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Otero, tuko na wewe bado unauliza maswali, naona umeanza wewe ni Otero, so unaamua vile utafanya, but patia watu wengine chance. We'll take 3 people, 3 at a time faster. We have I'll bring in Alai, followed by Edith, followed by Gray, and then you can give Wakili after that 4. So again,
Hussein, I really don't think Alai should speak because his comments will be biased. This space is basically about what we are going through in the street. Alai doesn't know about it. In short, Alai amekuwa kiongea mbaya kwa hii story ya maandamano. I really don't think
Alai can speak for himself. We can't limit anybody from speaking. Everybody has the freedom to speak here.
No, Alai is very bad.
So
thank you.
Let's have it.
Mara can speak, but Alai, no, he hasn't been against this.
Thank you. Otero, I've been an advocate of freedoms for a very long time, especially when we don't agree. So I would ask you to learn that lesson that you should listen to people, especially when they don't agree with you. And that's what the president is trying to do here. We don't agree with him, and that's why we want him to listen to us, and he agreed to come to the space. And moving forward, I really want to tell the president that, Mr. President, you know that your success is our success, and we really want you to succeed. The problem is that I don't know if you really want yourself to succeed as a president of Kenya. Because from the moment you got to be the president, there are things you did which I think just sabotaged your presidency. When you decided to say that you are not going to listen to intern doctors, I said, does the president know what he's doing? Because he's touching the hearts of Kenyans. These are the people who spend most of their time in public hospitals. When the president didn't take up the matter of pending bills and tell the counties and the national government to pay the pending bills, you know that one is touching the middle class, the working class. And these are the people who mobilize their children, called Gen Zs, And they came out and said no. When you removed Linda Jamii, when we interfered with Edu Afia, when we saw your friends and very close associates working with bands of money, 10, 20 million in churches, Mr. President, I think you sabotage your own presidency. And that's why I ask myself that the president really tells us that he means well for the country. But is he really meaning well for himself? Because unless somebody else is the president who is doing all these things, the second and last question, because I don't want to spend more time, I'm an elected official in Nairobi, Mr. President, is the issue of Nairobi on-source revenue, which we have asked, we have investigated, we have been taken around. Mara, it was KRA which is collecting that money. We have taken to the office of the president. Finally, we were told that it's being collected in Statehouse by some agency. We can't get, I'm the vice chairman of ICT in Nairobi City County Assembly. But nobody knows who is collecting revenue for Nairobi City County, Mr. President. It really saddens me because if that revenue was collected in a transparent and verifiable manner, then you know, Mr. President, some of these bills would be taken up by the counties and it will not come to you in the national government so as to pay those bills, Mr. President. Those are the only questions which I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Alai. Edith?
Yeah, thank you for the chance to ask a question.
Edith, are
Hello.
you with us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, let's go to Gray if Edith is not responding.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, thank you so much.
Hello.
Hussein, this is Grayson. Hussein, can you hear me? Otero unanisikia?
I can hear Eddie and I can hear the other gentleman.
I'd like to ask my
All right,
question if you can all hear me.
Okay, let's have one person speak. Gray speak.
All right, thank you so much, Hussein. Edith, I'm sorry. So, Your Excellency, my name is Grayson Mara. My question to you is one, and my question is on this very, very emotive and very, topic that we love talking about as a country, which is corruption. I know you stand on corruption. You have spoken about it many times. You don't condone corruption. You don't want corruption to happen in your government. But then I want to point out something. Recently, there was a scandal, with the fertilizer, and the CS was, impeached, or a motion was tabled in the National Assembly by a member of parliament for him to be impeached. But what happened later is that, the same members of parliament from your political party, the UDO party, went ahead and saved this particular cabinet secretary. What does that speak, to your stand regarding corruption? Do you support corruption on one hand, but on the other hand, because he is your CS, these are your members of parliament, they go ahead and flop that motion that was supposed to impeach this particular cabinet secretary? My last question, as a young person, there is a challenge of jobs in this country. But a month ago or so, in the dailies, there was a freeze that the public service is not hiring anymore. What are you trying to tell young people? Yet you say each and every day you want to ensure that we give jobs to these young people who go to school but don't have jobs out here. People are, forced to do things that they shouldn't be doing and they went through the education system. If I can get a response to those two issues, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Grayson,
Do I answer those, or I thought we said we take three people? Can we take maybe Eddie? Eddie was somewhere. There is a lady called Eddie was somewhere or something.
Edith Kimani.
Otero, from my end, I see she's a listener. Maybe you can add her to speak from what I'm able to see on my end.
Okay.
As we wait for the engagement, can I proceed and answer?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Alai has mentioned three things. Mr. Alai, I want to tell you, Mheshimiwa, that I am acutely clear that even if I don't succeed, I want Kenya to succeed. The one thing that I am very clear about is what do we do to change the status of many Kenyans? Intern doctors. There was a long conversation with intern doctors. I made sure that they were attended to. I met the leadership of the intern doctors myself, finally, and we did make an agreement on how to sort out the intern doctor situation, including I have factored in this budget with their concurrence. When I agreed with them, we were supposed to sort out their arrears in 3 years. I offered to sort them out in 1 year after I engaged with them, and the money is in the budget. As I talk to you, I have even today decided that even with a cut of the finance bill, I will still make sure that they are sorted out. The issue of pending bills. You know, my good brother, we have pending bills in the region of 650 billion. It is the reason why I appointed Mr. Ouko, our former Auditor General, to interrogate all the pending bills for purposes of making sure that we can pay them. In fact, one of the items that I listed this afternoon, which was also in the budget, is a provision for us to begin the journey to sort out pending bills, because it is crippling businesses of people, it is destroying enterprises of Kenyans because government is not paying. The third thing that you have said about Linda Mama or Linda Jamii and Eduafia, I have done 3 things. Maybe the explanation. Let me give you the explanation.
Itakata space.
On Linda Mama. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Mr. President. Sorry about that.
What we are doing is, under our universal health coverage, I promise the people of Kenya that we need to ensure that we don't leave other Kenyans behind. Under our universal health coverage, in which this year we now have a budget for it, we are going to scale up the benefits of Linda Mama. That is why we have brought it, we have scaled it up into universal health coverage. We want it to reach more Kenyans. That's number 1. Number 2, we want to enhance the benefits. The benefits were 2,500 for women giving birth in hospital, in smaller hospitals, 5,000 and maximum of 17,000. We have now changed that. From 2,500, we have moved the benefit to 11,000. And we have moved the upper benefit to 32,000. That is not a derogation. That is an upgrading of Linda Mama. Number 2, Eduafia. What we are doing with Eduafia is that we are universalizing the universal health is universalizing insurance, so that every Kenyan, and you know, I made this absolutely clear, and that is why we have changed the law, so that not just the students who are in school, but every Kenyan, even those who are not in school, will now be beneficiaries of our chief social health. We, instead of having NHIF, we are now going to have social health insurance fund, which is going to cater for everybody, to universalize access. So on both cases, Mr. Alai, we are not derogating, we are upgrading and making sure that universal health is available to many Kenyans. Finally, on Nairobi, on source of revenue, I thought I heard the governor say the other day that he had increased it, he had raised more revenue than was ever raised. I'm not sure about that. But I want to tell you that that is a Nairobi County affair. You, Mr. Alai, should not be asking me. The public should be asking you, because you are the person. You are the person responsible. You are the representative of the people. You should answer that question. You should be the one to interrogate the county government. It is your responsibility of oversight. It is your responsibility of representation. It is your responsibility of legislation. You should legislate how the county resources are raised. You should oversight the county government to collect it. I just want you to take up your job and do it. Let me, Gray Marwa has asked me two very important questions. Marwa, these are very important questions about corruption. Let me say the following, just three things first. Number one, I said before that corruption must be dealt with firmly and decisively. And that is why my act number one in office, the two acts that I did in office when I came into office was number one, to make sure that I give financial autonomy to the police so that they can pursue corruption to the extent possible, and that they don't have to come back to me, and nobody in my office will control the police in as to who they want to prosecute. That's number one. And I signed, and the budget of the police is run by the IG at the moment, and they are free to go after everybody. That's number one. Number two, I made sure that the judges that had been denied the opportunity to serve and to empower our judiciary, I signed them, and I made sure that they have been gazetted and they went to work. I did not stop there. I have enhanced the budget of the judiciary from 18 billion to this year. I wanted to be at 25 billion. Unfortunately, it may come down because of the finance bill by about $1 billion or so. Number three, I am the president who has sworn in the highest number of judges in 2 years in the history of Kenya. I have sworn in maybe 46, almost 50 judges, because I have agreed with the judiciary that justice delayed is justice denied. And therefore, I want to make sure that becomes the case. Number four, on the specific incident of what happened with you, as I tell the people of Kenya, those where evidence has been gathered, sufficient evidence has been gathered, they are in court. The CEO, the general manager, and 7 other staff of the National Cereals and Produce Board are already in court. The minister was taken to Parliament to answer for political responsibility, that to make sure that his oversight role was in question. I want to tell you this, Gray, that we are a country of the rule of law. When a person has been, when allegations are made against a person and they are not verified, there is no way such person can be held to account. But when they are verified, like the case of the officers who worked under the minister that were verified, they are in court. I want to tell you, if a minister, if a principal secretary, if there are verified allegations of corruption against any cabinet minister or any principal secretary, the day they are taken to court, I will fire them. I will not wait for the court process, because there will be an element of confirmation that these are people who are corrupt. Let me talk about jobs. And you have said correctly that the public service has issued a circular that there will be, there's a freeze on jobs. The public service has a freeze on jobs at different levels. People who are employed at entry level, and the space around jobs is huge. Government can only hire a very small fraction. My intention, my plan is to make sure that government facilitates the economy, facilitates the private sector, facilitates the entire enterprise space to create more jobs. It is the reason why I made a deliberate commitment to the people of Kenya when I went for the elections, and I said I will focus on creating jobs. And if you want me to explain to you the areas where I am focused on creating jobs, I will. If you want me to tell you how many jobs I have created in the 2 years that I have been in office, I will tell you, from housing, from digital jobs, from going to manufacturing, all the way to export of labor. I will tell you how many jobs I have created, and I have every intention to make sure that as many Kenyans as possible have an opportunity to have an income so that they can contribute meaningfully to the development of our country. Thank you.
Ling, you can speak.
Thank you very much for this chance to maybe ask some few questions to the president. I'll be very brief. I only have 3 questions to make. One, Mr. President, is that like most of the people have said, is that your government is full of lies. Because of one, I want to put it clear that when Finance Bill 2023 was passed, we believe that the revenue that was going to be collected during that period were going to be used for development. Personally, I come from a Masab constituency, and on February of last year, the CS for Transport, Bonamur Komen, came to Kabiet Shrines and promised us that there is a road down there that's going to down from Kurgung to Chepterway, coming down to Kapkatembu. He said personally that since that this is a road that was left midway by the contractor, he was going to send the contractor in a record 3 months to be on site so that the road can continue so the contractor can start the construction. Up to now, we still haven't seen that. So that basically tells you that that is a liar. Number 2, I think the Gray has talked about the issue of fertilizer. You've said, Mr. President, that if you find that there is a case against the said minister, you're going to fire him. There is a case that has been filed by the Law Society of Kenya against the Minister of Agriculture. If kindly, we can tell the minister to step aside so that, trying to investigate someone who is in office becomes very hard. So let the minister step aside so that we can continue with the investigation. Number 3, I would want to talk about the arrogance. The arrogance that is in your government. I have heard Mr. President say that the issue of Finance Bill 2024 was, I think it was packaged in a way that maybe you should have done it better. Yes, you should have done it better. The reason being, the people you sent out there, since the MP for Molo, on the issue of the motor vehicle levy, at some point in the TV, he told people that, if you cannot be able to pay that, just leave your vehicle at home. That is the arrogance that was being displayed. The leader of majority in parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, even went out on a podium, said that, that these are the Gen Zs, they come with the phones, they go to KFC, they've been building up. So people were really angry because they've paid, people sold their land, the issues are still there, nobody's talking about. We have a case that is in court, it can drag to 5 years. So what happens with the money that is been lost, that someone was going to go to school tomorrow or by next year, maybe they would have graduated. So I think those are the issues that I have.
Your Excellency, for this opportunity to address you, and thank you very much, the host, Hussein and Osama. My name is Jesse Saruni, or rather Wakili Saruni. I am the president of University Students in Kenya, KUSO. And Your Excellency, I have a few concerns. But first, allow me to give you a background of why, in my opinion, I feel comrades were very disturbed about the finance bill. Your Excellency, if you look at the Finance Bill 2023-2024, it introduced housing levy at around 3%, which was to be redeemable. However, during public participation, the people, most of the people, including comrades, said that we can start at 1.5%. But without communication, the parliament went ahead and reviewed and made it to be 1.5%, but they removed the clause that allowed people to redeem the savings after they retire. Your Excellency, I would wish to hear from you whether it can be reverted so that this can be redeemable. But as I continue, Your Excellency, I was part of your team during the campaign, and one of the things that we were saying during the campaign, because I actively campaigned using the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, was the 30% of appointments of youth in different positions, and including a youth advisor to the cabinet. However, Your Excellency, currently we have an advisor to the cabinet on women affairs, but we do not have an advisor to the cabinet on youth affairs. I was concerned whether this was deliberately left out, or I was just a little bit concerned with that. Your Excellency, another key concern that affects comrades, around 6,000 graduates went through diploma in law, and this is in regard to career progression. So they did their diploma in law, and they proceeded to do their degree in law. Your Excellency, before 2014, everyone who did their diploma and did their degree in law were able to proceed to the Kenya School of Law for the ATP Advocates Training Program. But the laws were changed in 2014, and this affects around 6,000 university students who are working in law firms and getting underpaid. And I am happy to see that the president of LSK, who is very passionate about issues of youth, is also here. Your Excellency, there is an amendment bill in Parliament that is on the Speaker's desk and has stayed for so long. Your Excellency, this is something that is under the office of the Attorney General. And with the indulgence of the Attorney General, I believe this thing can be, we can find an approach where this thing can be addressed, of course, through the office of the Attorney General, so that these comrades can stop the suffering. They are not able to proceed to self-actualization, because most of them would want to become advocates of the High Court, but they are not able due to that change in the Act of Parliament. Your Excellency, another concern is on students and youth leadership.
Wakili, I really hate to do this, but please, we've only gone through 5 questions. I think there are so many people on attack.
Okay, just one more.
Kindly, we agreed. Yeah, please, kindly.
Okay. Your Excellency, in regards to university students and youth leadership, you can see that we have the National Youth Council, which is constituted. It's supposed to hold elections. And I feel, Your Excellency, the youth feel that they have not been able for a long time to represent their grievances, because they are not able to elect their leaders directly. And this goes back even to the university. Has the aspect of when the projects are complete, people tend to brand their names on these projects. Your Excellency, these projects are financed by taxpayers, and it is the request of the young people and the youth that when it comes to branding, we would rather have these projects branded that they have been financed by the Kenyan taxpayer. I will leave it at that, Your Excellency, and thank you very much. But of course, there is the issue of mental health. I appreciate we cannot exhaust all these things in one sitting, but I'm looking forward to more engagements in other platforms. Thank you very much, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. The final question of the 3 ex-councillor.
Good evening, everyone. You can hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
My first request to the host and the co-host, please do not give the elected people the chance to speak, one of them a lie and me. You can hear me, Osama? Can we save the time? Elected MPs, any elected official should not take this chance apart from the president. So thank you very much for the time. I have to...
Councillor, finish, please. Thank you.
Yeah, my question is to the president. Why is it that the things you're asking about today are not new things? They are things you did promise in your campaign, and the other time you are being played with videos of you saying the same thing. You had to find a way of not listening to those videos. The one thing that you promised us, one of them is corruption. Your people around you, you've addressed this one. You can't tell me out of the 100 people you have around you, 90% are corrupt or have story of corruption, and you are doing nothing about them. I'm a medic by profession, and the issue of NHIF, which is moving now to SHIF. I read the last 2 days of millions, 300 millions, another 900 million today, disappearing to wrong or fake claims. I'm wondering, if the change from NHIF to SHIF, will it improve or just another way to get more money